Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the We're Not the Experts podcast. I am your favorite co host, Mr. Floppy. That is your other favorite co host, Mr. Big Con. See, I got you,
Yeah,
buddy.
alright,
Don't
alright.
worry about it. I ain't going to hit on
I
you that
got
hard.
anxious. I got anxious.
I might hit on you that hard. That was a weird way to say it. I'm not going to like dog
You
on you
do.
that hard.
You hit on me.
We
You
can
hit
do a
on me.
dog pretty good, though.
This is getting worse. Ooh.
How's it going? How's your week?
It was alright.
That's
I was
good.
off for most of the weekend.
That's
Actually,
always
all the
nice.
weekend. So,
There you go.
I've had like 7,000 phone calls that I've mostly avoided work.
Nice.
Um,
Love ignoring him. Cool. Hell yeah. Well, you wanna jump right into what we were going to talk about? We started talking about it a little bit before, but
yeah, and then we had to stop because we.
yeah, because we started talking about it too
So,
much.
yeah, let's go right into our news segment.
Right into the segment.
Right
What's
into the
going
segment.
on?
This is extremely important information,
This is very
and
important. Yes.
it's actually the vote is tomorrow. It's the TikTok
Yes.
ban is
Yes.
going to be voted on 4/23,
Yeah.
2024. Um,
That the
and
House just voted
the
on.
House already voted on it and passed on Saturday,
Yeah, over the
uh,
weekend.
over the weekend.
Over the
And
weekend.
what's even worse, I was about to curse, but I'm trying not to. What's even
I feel that.
fucking worse, what's even worse is that they are basically masking it as
Mhm.
a foreign aid bill.
Yes.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of
There's a lot
opinions.
there on this one.
So it's
Um,
$95 billion dollars, I believe,
mhm.
is going to three countries.
It's yeah,
Um,
Ukraine, Israel, and I forget the other one.
I forget who that was. These.
I forget who the other one is, but I know it's three countries. It's I know Ukraine and Israel are one of them.
Yes.
But yeah, so like a four-part bill or however the fuck you say that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer or politician, but yeah, basically the bill is very obviously a foreign aid bill. It's a
Correct.
like I said, it's funding and sending money to foreign countries.
Correct.
And as our government always does, they decided to slide the TikTok ban into that bill to try and basically get it to pass because everyone knew that this foreign aid bill was going to pass, which is its own thing in my opinion.
Yep.
But to do it on a Saturday, which one the government never does anything on a Saturday.
Right.
Um, so that right there is already typical government. They were trying to slide it in and get it done before anyone really knew about it and like said anything because I don't think it's been on any of the news or anything like that. And yeah, so the House passed it, and now they're rushing it through the Senate, trying to get the Senate to vote on it, which they're going to vote on tomorrow, Tuesday, the day this comes out. Um, and yeah, so they're expecting it to pass. I think the only modification that was made to it is that it gives the owner 9 months to sell with an additional 3 months if a sale is pending at the end of that.
So basically,
Um, yeah.
um,
So, but I like I said, the we were talking about this to begin with that there's multiple problems with this. One, doing it on a Saturday is my big thing, trying to kind of sneak it through without
it's a
anyone knowing
sneak.
about it. And
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, that's with something like TikTok where they can talk about national security threats all that they want. It's about controlling what the people are able to have access to.
Right. Yep.
And they can't say like we've talked about in the past that Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of these others are US based companies and they can control what goes through them to a degree. Obviously, TikTok is a Chinese based company or a Japanese, or I think it's Chinese, right?
I think it's Beijing.
It's wherever
Oh, Hong Kong.
It's an Asian based uh, company. So obviously the government has very little control over that. And it's something that kind of connects multiple people of the world together, and governments also don't like that because unified fronts are not their friends. So that
Yep.
alone is very sleazy, in my opinion, to try and push that through. It's one of those things that it makes it feel like the government's hiding something, which of course they are.
Yep.
Um,
And
it just
there's
feels like
and
mafia, like very much
right. It's
like
sleazeball.
like
It's
yeah, gang lord, like
sleazeball.
drug lord mafia, like
Right.
yeah,
Hey, guess what we're gonna do? Like, we're gonna wrap this fucking bill inside of a bill. Actually,
yeah.
BoJack Horseman has a episode where they talk about that. Like,
Hmm.
it's not entirely about that, but it basically the premise is they want to change a law,
Hmm.
and so they go to all these congressmen and be like, "Hey, we want to change this law. Like, what do you want? Oh, I want this for my district. Great, we'll put on there." And then it's like, "What do you want? Put on there. Put on there. Put on there. Put
Yeah.
on there." And then by the end of it, they got what they wanted, but so they
Yeah.
piled everything
Everybody
that
got
they
what they
wanted.
wanted.
Right,
Yeah.
and what they got, yeah, they used it exactly what they're
Yeah.
doing
Which does that happens in government all the time. Bills
all the
all the
time.
time have and it'll be on, like it'll be a 4,000 page bill, and on page, like, 3,742 through
Mhm.
3,753 will be the really, really important one that obviously no one gets to really read, and it has
Right.
something to do with yeah, that we were talking about that beforehand, that this whole thing of putting bills together to get them to pass is very same thing, like mafia lord, like sleazeball-y.
Garbage.
And what we were talking about before, which is why we had to stop and start recording. I think there should be a law or even like almost like I would make the argument like a constitutional amendment
Mhm.
that every bill that's passed needs to have a very clear and stated topic or like I said, this one is very clearly a foreign aid bill. Like it needs
Right.
to have a primary subject or I can't think of the word right now, but a topic basically.
Right, a title.
Um,
Like,
a title. Thank you.
if it's foreign aid, it's
Um,
foreign aid. Like,
yeah,
there's
and so
no
everything in the
TikTok
bill
there.
should have to have something to do with the main focus of the bill.
Right,
So yeah, in this situation, a foreign aid bill should have nothing to do with social media in it.
right.
There should be zero stuff like it should only be about foreign aid and sending money to foreign aid or if that's something we want or whatever. And yeah, putting a social media ban into a foreign aid bill is so like I said, I think there ought to be like a constitutional amendment
Oh, yeah,
that
100%.
state like that states that yeah there has to be
You
something that's
can't
followed.
you can't be sleazeball McGee
Hmm.
24/7. That we're like,
Yeah,
whoever did this is a dirtball. Actually,
yeah,
West Wing
but like I
also
said,
comes
government
to
does it all the time,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
and they do
West
that all
Wing
the time where
does
they
that all
put
the
bills
time too.
together.
Oh, yeah.
um that's one of the things like working in agriculture, that's one of my our complaints is that so we have the farm bill, like somewhere around 75% of the farm bill or something like that is all nutrition, like it's all food stamps and like school nutrition and all of that, which has nothing to do with farming. Like it's in the realm, it's in the same
Food.
circle, but it's everything past the farming aspect. It's
Right,
all like way down in the processing line of from what I do, from where I grow the raw product to
right.
then send it to the people, unless you are doing vegetable farming, which is not what I do. Um, which also makes the same argument that like food stamps is not, or like snaps is what it's called.
I
Um,
saw the Facebook post, by the way.
yes, I was on Facebook.
I liked it.
There you
Uh,
go.
Did you
I
see
did
what
see
I
your
said?
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see your comment. But yeah, nutrition has nothing to do. The SNAPS program has nothing to do with farming. Those are two things that should
Yeah,
not be in the same bill. Why are we
agreed.
talking about SNAPs and food stamps and in a farming bill? I get nutrition being in there,
Yeah, yeah.
parts of nutrition, but
Parts.
SNAPs is not. That's a separate thing.
Right,
That's
that's
another. It's food
like a
related, but
government
that doesn't
aid.
make it farm related, and it's a
Right.
separate. Yeah, it's a government aid. It's a yeah, it's an assisted living type thing.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, government does that all the time,
Yep.
and it's
We'll see. And by
annoying,
the
but
way, stop sending $95 billion to
yeah, of
other
our money.
fucking places. I
Hmm.
get that other people need help. I
Hmm.
don't want this to sound like I'm like, hey, fuck the other countries. But when you have so
I
many
didn't.
issues in the other, I agree that we should help other people because
Yes,
we are a
yeah,
big nation and whatever.
yeah.
But at the same time, half of that, do you really have to send 90? What is $95 billion even
Mhm.
going to? What are
Where
we doing that?
where
Like,
I started having a problem with it is
yeah,
when we had the what was it, the volcano that erupted in Hawaii,
mhm,
and it took them 6
forever.
months to send $1,000 per family,
Right. You sending
which
$95 billion
yeah, you're sending
over.
$95 billion to foreign
Oh, yeah.
countries, and
It's
you
fucked
sent
up.
$1,000 per family to your own citizens in Hawaii that were
Right.
hit by, and that's not even like sending it to Ukraine, that's a war. That's
Right.
a man-made thing. This was a natural disaster, a volcano erupted or fire, I can't remember I think it was a volcano.
Yeah, it was volcano.
Whatever it was a natural disaster. It was an act of God, something that nobody could control.
Right.
And it takes you like over 6 months to send $1,000 per family. That did absolutely nothing for
Nothing.
anybody. At that point, there is no $1,000 is after 6 months, anyone that didn't have the money to buy food is already dead. Like you're starved to that, or like
Right.
there is no
Your
that
house
does
is gone.
nothing for anybody.
Right.
And that's where when that shit happened, that's where I was like, no, we shouldn't be if that's how we're handling our own natural
Hmm.
disasters. And where the fuck was Ukraine sending us money? Where was all these other foreign countries sending us aid for a natural disaster,
Right.
something nobody could control? At the end of the day, like, a war is a war, and that's something that's man, right, wrong, whatever. I'm not saying anything about that, but it's something that man does. It's a human thing.
Right.
This
Right.
was a natural disaster that nobody could control, and nobody else helped, and it took our government
And it
way too long to help
way too long.
anyone.
Oh yeah, it was
So
garbage.
when they're doing stuff like that, that's where I'm like,
I
no,
agree.
we should not be sending any money to anyone else when we can't even take care of our own people when something like that happens.
I agree. I mean, then like all the we have a homeless epidemic. We have like food epidemic. Like
Hmm.
we have so many fucking problems
Hmm.
in here. How about we focus a
And
little bit more? Our public school is a fucking
mhm.
joke. Like
Oh yeah,
we're a
yeah.
joke. We are not a number one country. We're not
Mm.
like garbage. Because somebody was like, "We're a third world country." I was like, "You're an idiot. We're
No,
not.
we're not a third world country.
Go to a
I've
real one and you
I've
can."
been to third world countries. We are not a third world
Right,
country.
right. Go to
Um,
one and you'll see what the fuck you're talking about.
yeah.
But like we're not number one in like anything except for probably like murder. Like
We're number one. I think the last thing we were number one that I saw, we were number one in like per capita spending for military, meaning
yeah,
that,
yeah,
like, we
yeah.
spend a lot of money on our military.
Oh yeah, and
And then there
which
was
which I'm fine with. I'm
I
fine
think like
with you.
obesity was one. I think we were number
Probably,
one in that too. Um,
but yeah, you have
but
so many fucking problems here. $95 billion doesn't need to go over there. Send
yeah,
like ten billion feels like a lot. Like,
it is a lot.
right, like why are
um,
you having to like why do you have to
yeah.
even like 5 billion per country should be good. Like
Mhm.
you gave
I
Ukraine
also
like
I
7,000 things.
don't like the thing of sending money. That's where I have an issue with it too. If they need help,
Send
send
food.
aid.
Send right, yeah.
Yes, because that was one of my problems with COVID. So hospitals were given incentives to so hospitals were given money for every COVID patient they treated.
Right.
All
And
that is
then
doing is creating an incentive for someone to be dishonest about whether or not they were receiving a COVID patient, because they're going to get sent money, and then there's no repercussions for what they do with that money after that. So any person that would come in with a sore throat, I witnessed it. Like, I would go into the hospital with my wife, and she would have a sore throat, or I would have sore or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, it's probably COVID. Go home." Never tested you or anything,
right.
and you know
COVID
that they wrote
patient.
down COVID as a yeah,
Right.
and they wrote it down and they got money for it.
Right.
And I'm like, all that's doing is incentivizing people to be dishonest.
Right. And then even
If
the
they
COVID
need
deaths.
help,
Right.
yeah. If they need help, send them supplies. If they need more respirators, send them more respirators. If they need more masks, send them more masks. If they need food for nurses or clothes for nurses or whatever, send them the items that they need. Stop sending them money. And
Right.
that's for for foreign countries and everything. If they need firearms, send them firearms.
Right.
If like in Ukraine to defend for people to defend themselves, and if they needed, yeah, stuff like that,
And we
send them
did
the
give
product.
Ukraine we did give
Um,
Ukraine military weapons
yeah.
and like
Um,
tanks and fucking jets and shit.
yeah.
Like that's fine. We're not going to get into that. But like that's like
Fine in the sense
you're
like,
giving
whether
them a
you if you
product.
yes, it's not you're not sending them money.
Right.
Um, because at the end of the day, we don't know where that money's going. Is it getting funneled into an offshore account that's now getting donated to the Democratic or the Republican campaign? To someone's, is it stuff like that? Where is it getting funneled around? Is it going over to Ukraine and going to all of the wealthy government leaders in Ukraine, and then not happen like nothing, not going to anywhere
Right.
else?
Right.
Um, so that's my problem with I don't think we should be sending money to any foreign country.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
we should be sending aid, and if they need, like I said, food, use the money I mean, it's fine to use the money to buy the things that we need to send them over there,
Right.
but sending them just straight money is like I
Cuz
said, all
then
it's doing is incentivizing dishonesty.
Because then what you could do even is give that money back into American corporations
Yeah.
where it'd be like, hey, we need respirators, we need
Hmm.
masks. Let's just give it to this company.
Yeah.
And like at least
Give them
then
a
you're
contract to produce.
right.
So
Then
now you're
you're
employing American people
right.
to produce
Creating
American,
jobs.
to produce
Right.
things.
We could
Yeah.
be we could be okay. We could be your leaders. So just vote.
2025. No, what is this? 24.
This is 24.
Twenty
We're not
vote for
old.
us. 2028. Oh yeah, we're not old enough. That's right. What, you have
20
to be like 40 or something, right?
I thought it was 35.
Is it 35? I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest. I actually don't know what the minimum age to be president is. Um,
So in about 10ish years, everybody.
yeah, I know
We'll
it's
be
somewhere
ready.
between 30 or 40, 45, somewhere in there. Um,
thought it was 35.
it may be, you may be right. I honestly have no idea. I don't know if that's one of those things. Like I don't know if I was ever told in school what the minimum. I just know there is a minimum age.
I remember we went over it,
Um,
and I had government, like American government.
yeah,
But yeah,
I don't know. I'll be completely honest. I have no idea what it is.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so but oh
that
well,
is
yeah. So that's our thought
TikTok
on that. Yeah, the TikTok.
ban
We kind of ran
and
it on there a little
dumbass
bit.
shit.
Sorry about that, but yeah, TikTok ban. I think this is a good time. Con, you want to tell them about the friends of the show?
Well, I love our friends.
I love our friends.
So the first friend and a special announcement for
Oh, that's right,
W.GG.
special friend.
Special friend
Yeah, little
W.GG.
W.
20% off for the next 72 hours, but when you hear this, 48 hours.
Yes.
I
Maybe
would
till,
assume,
I think the last day is the 24th.
yeah, 24th. Use code not experts for 20% off, everybody.
That's an extra 10%.
That's an extra 10%. That's an extra 10% into your pocket. We're giving you money because the government won't.
Yes.
The next
exactly.
one is Reaper, which I actually have a sticker right here.
Nice. I like that. Put it on your
Yeah.
forehead.
Right on my. That'd be funny. Reaper Apparel Company is our clothing company that we are partnered with. That is still 10% off, but I'm sure
Yes.
they will up it also Monday. But that is code not experts as well.
Get you 10% off some good shirts. So
Great
we got
shirts.
drinks, we got shirts. What else we got, Con?
And then we got beard.
Beard. I like beard stuff.
Beard
Yeah.
stuff. Mad Viking Company. Beard Company. I'm sorry. You have to go to our storefront, which is, luckily for you, right down below in the links and in the episode topics thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's there.
It's also it'll be on a link somewhere, either the link on the TikTok, the link on the Twitter.
It's everywhere.
It'll be somewhere, yeah.
You can find it, but you can get. I believe it's still 10%, but it's cool, and it's a wonderful product. I've been using it. My beard is much softer. Loving it.
Love the smell. It smells good. You wake up in the morning, you smell it.
I put it on. I smell it all day. Ooh, it's good.
Yeah,
good shit. So make sure you go get W.
Check all those out. And if go ahead. I'll say if you missed the W 20% off, don't worry, you can still use code not experts. You'll still get 10% off your order, even if you miss 20%. So even if you don't get it in there within the 24 or 48-hour window from the time that you hear us, still use the code. You can get 10% off your order, still saving you money.
Yep. And good news also, in about 14-ish weeks, there's gonna be a giveaway.
Yeah. We'll probably do some kind of special episode for the 50th, maybe a little bit longer one. Maybe get some other people on, something like that. Maybe have a third person or something like that. So yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, so thank you for all the friends of the show. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all partnering with us. We love the products. And yeah. So I was going to ask you this, and this is much more lighthearted than what we were talking about previously. This is kind of one of the have fun topics. So I was thinking about this the other day when I was mowing the grass. Ironically, it's not really ironically, but so you know how in most time travel movies, when someone has to go back in time and talk to themselves, there's always they always walk up and they're like, "Hey, I'm you from the future," and it's like, "No, you're not." And there's always something that they say. It's always something along the lines of, in your left pocket, you carry a 50-cent coin and it's got a red dot in the middle of it. And then you're always like, oh, I never told anybody that. How did you know that? There's always something that they tell the past self to know that the future self is, or the present. They always tell the present self, something so they know that that's the future selves. What would you tell yourself when you went back in time that only like it is like something that like to convince yourself right now that you are a future self? Of a future version of yourself. And you don't have to actually tell me if it's something like kind of dark and it's a secret.
I know the one. I know the one that I would actually say to myself. I'm not gonna say.
You have a dragon dildo in the back of your closet right now. What? How'd you know that? I haven't told anybody that. But no, if you have something that's not super personal or like your social security number or some shit like that, what would you?
That's a good one. Social security number would be good. But
I don't know that would convince me enough.
That would be pretty good.
It would be close, but also with the right amount of Googling, anybody could find your social security number nowadays,
Yeah,
damn
you'd
near.
have to do it.
So that's one of those, like, it would have to be something that I've, like, never told anybody, that only I knew, and I honestly don't really know what I would tell myself. I
I
don't
think
really
I know.
know.
I won't
I
say
don't
it here.
have I don't have just one thing. I don't have one thing where I'm like a repressed memory or something where I'm like,
Mm.
in kindergarten you shit yourself and didn't tell anybody or something, like, I don't have anything like that that I
Oh,
remember
I did
that,
poop myself
um
at Target when I was younger.
and now everybody knows about it, so it could be anybody.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, you just ruined it. So,
Was this
but
just a way to get me to get people to know that I pooped myself?
Khan shit himself when he was in Target. No, but anyway,
That was
so
only a
let
couple
us
years
know
ago.
in the comments. Do you have something that you would tell yourself from the future,
Hmm.
or do you have something that you would tell a past version of yourself so that they knew that you were you from the future? Um, I just always thought it was funny that I thought, I started thinking about it and I was like, I don't know what I would tell myself. I
Oh, it's
genuinely
interesting.
don't know what information I would give myself to know that it's me. But there's always something, and it's always something super arbitrary or whatever. So I thought it was funny. I was thinking about that, and I was kind of like, huh, I don't know. That would also be whack if you're just like walking down the street one day and someone walks up and like hands you a note and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm you from the future." Blah 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 blah. That'd be trippy as shit, dude.
You pooped yourself in Target. Ah,
Fuck, dude. How did I know that?
God knows. This guy's me.
Uh, but which is funny because it's one of those things that it could happen at any time. You know,
Hmm. It'd be
you don't
wild.
actually know that it couldn't happen.
Right, it could happen.
What did I read somewhere that so if you have you ever watched The Flash, the TV
Yeah.
show? So
I mean,
there's like the scene that where he like vibrates really fast and he makes his his cells the natural state of air and he's able to move through objects, which doesn't really make sense to me because air can't move through objects. So I don't really get that. But whatever it is, like when he phases through stuff, somewhere I read, I just went jazz hands there. I can't do the like vibrating thing that they do, obviously. Somewhere I read that if you were to take your hand and go to slam it on the table,
mhm.
there is a very, very small percentage chance,
Oh,
but there is a
yes.
possibility where all of the atoms can line up and your hand could go through the table.
Yes, I heard that before.
It's a stupidly slim possibility
Right.
to the point where it's like not even really possible. But in theory, it is theoretically possible to be able to pass through something if all of the molecules or atoms or whatever line up perfectly to
Did you know how
phase through
crazy
each
that would be?
other. That would be fucking, imagine you were about to get hit by a car and it like and the 1 in a 15 quintillion chance or whatever the fuck that it is, the car just goes and you're like, "Ugh, ugh." It'd write a fucking movie about you, dude.
Oh, yeah. That would be
Um,
awesome, dude. That would be
but
awesome.
apparently that's real.
Yeah,
That's a thing. That's a
I heard about that.
um,
Dude, so
there's
one
all kinds of stuff. Ooh, I'm a little sweaty. There's all kinds of stuff that is like theoretically possible,
oh,
but
yeah, tons.
um what is it like, have you ever heard the story of the man that races the rabbit or whatever?
I've noticed hair and
No, okay, so this is like it's not like a theoretical, it's like a I guess it kind of is a theoretical. It's like like a philosophical question. That's what it is. And it's so you have a man and a rabbit and they both race each other. Like the man challenges the rabbit to a race.
sure.
And it's the rabbit moves a meter per second, the man moves 10 meters per second.
Right.
Just for round numbers. It's
Sure.
obviously not, that's a lot. But the man tells the rabbit, "Hey, I'm going to give you a basically a 10-second head start."
Mhm.
So race starts. Rabbit gets a 10-second head start, and he's now 10 meters away from the man. The man starts the race, and he moves 10 meters in 1 second. But in that time, in the 1 second, the rabbit has moved a tenth of a meter. In the time that it took the man to move from where he was at to where the rabbit was, the rabbit has now moved like a tenth of a meter closer. So then
Right.
the man moves a tenth of a meter closer to the rabbit, and the rabbit now moved 1,000 meters, a thousandth of a meter. And so like it's just the rabbit is infinitely smaller and smaller and smaller, getting ahead of the guy.
Right.
But in a from a mathematical standpoint, the man would actually never catch up to the rabbit. He would just keep getting closer and closer and closer to an infinitely small number
Right.
because the rabbit is always going to be moving at a slightly faster pace. Like not
Yes, I heard
faster,
about it.
but a slightly
Yeah.
pace. Same
Slightly
thing with the
ahead.
fly and the train.
They
That
move
if a
faster.
fly Well, if a train's moving one direction and a fly's moving one direction, in order for an object that's moving in a straight line to turn around, it has to stop. So if the train is moving and it hits the fly, in order for the fly to change directions when it gets hit by the train, it has to have stopped. So if the fly is moving and the train is moving and they run into each other, then if the fly stopped, the train also had to have stopped.
Mm,
So when it hits the fly, it stopped for an infinitely small second. It was stopped and then moved on. So
interesting.
it's all like philosophical stuff. They're kind of fun.
This is interesting.
But
I have one slight thing, and then we can wrap up.
okay, what you got for me?
So in September of 2023,
Mhm.
the military conducted
Specific date.
what?
So it's a very specific date.
A month
Kind
and a
of, not
year.
really, I guess. Yeah,
Some-
it's like it's only like 2 parts of a date.
um, on September 23rd, 2023 at 1400 AM.
There you go.
So I don't remember what day it was, but back last year, the
Mhm.
military did a operation with a AI powered jet and
Okay.
a man powered jet,
Mhm,
F-16,
mhm,
and they had a dogfight.
mhm.
And the military did not disclose who won. They were like, we can't give you any further details, but this happened. It went
Oh,
really
jeez.
well. But can you imagine?
What do you mean it went really well? What does that mean?
That's all they said. That
How did it go well? Did it go well for the
so
pilot or did it go well for the AI?
they won't tell you.
Bitches.
Isn't that interesting? But what's very interesting about that is, um, I really want to know who won. That was like my number. I read that article. I was like, oh, who won? Who won? And it was like lieutenant or whatever was like, oh yeah, we can't tell you who, like, what was the result,
Part
but it
of me
was
wants to tells me that that means that the AI won.
AI won.
But then also part of me thinks that maybe the AI didn't win because everyone's obviously going to think the AI is going to win.
Hmm.
And so it's like maybe the AI didn't win. Also,
But
that's very similar to that movie Stealth. Have you ever seen the movie?
no.
It's about an AI. It's basically 3 fighter pilots that fly super classified stealth military aircraft, and then they introduce an AI operated one that's solely operated by a computer. And basically the whole movie is one of the guys is the typical like, "Oh, I'm not letting a machine take my job," and their mission is to like bomb a fucking bunker or something. And for whatever reason, in order to do it, he has to go up into the air and like nosedive onto the bunker and reach speeds of like Mach 6 or something like that
Okay.
to get the missile velocity to puncture through the bunker. And everyone at the ship is like, no, let the AI do it. Like the AI can't black out. You're gonna black out at those speeds and crash and blah 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 blah. And he's like, no, I'm doing it. And he disobeys the order and goes and does it. So then the AI learns to disobey the orders from him doing it. So then the AI just basically goes AWOL and just starts doing whatever it wants, like whatever it deems as targets that need to be destroyed, it will just go and like start destroying them. And it's such an advanced aircraft that like no one can catch it. And yeah,
Interesting.
it's actually a pretty good movie. And then in the very end, the guy in the AI, like they start to try and basically the government comes in and tries to kill everyone off and reboot the AI and like basically you go, nope, nothing happened here. And the dude that didn't believe in the AI joins up with the AI and goes to like save someone that they were like one of the girls. He's in love with the other pilot and he goes to like save her because they're trying to kill her. So it's actually a fairly good movie, but
That was a
um
long. That was interesting.
it was a very long, yeah. Sorry, I kind of pulled away from your story there, but I felt like the more I was explaining, the more I was like, I got to explain more for this to make sense.
It's getting worse. Just
Yeah,
go
it
watch the
definitely
movie.
started getting worse. But
Yeah, just go watch the movie. But it's
yeah,
very interesting that I mean, hey, we have AI powered jets that we can.
I'll say I'm very surprised that they were willing to say that they have AI powered jets.
Yeah, me too.
That on its own is a major feat of you have this completely. I wonder if did they actually do it or did they sim it?
No, there's footage
Mm.
of these two
Oh, okay.
jets next to they did like drills together, they flew together, they did flight pattern together, and
Mhm.
then apparently they had to fight and
Mm.
tell us what happened.
See, I'm gonna say that the man pilot won, and that's why they're not telling us. Because
Probably
I
because then it's
feel
gonna be
like,
like, this is shit. Why are we wasting our money on
yeah,
it?
I feel like everyone's gonna think that the AI won, and
Right,
I think that's what they want people to think. That's why they're not saying. I think if the AI had
right,
won, they'd have been like, yeah, the AI kicked the shit out of him. And I'm gonna bet that the human piloted thing won because
or
I
like
think they're
crashed.
yeah, that's right. As soon as it started, the AI went or the human. Yeah.
And they're just like, Just lie.
Yeah,
Lie.
the government loves to do that. But um,
But
yeah,
yeah, that was my last
that's an
story.
interesting. The whole AI thing is very cool. There's a same
We've talked.
similar thing. Yeah, we've talked about that in depth many a times, but I know there's a whole AI thing where I think Audi made a car that was fully AI driven that was a race car, and then they ran it on like their test track, and it like beat every fucking lap record that ever human ever made.
Yeah, because
Um,
it knows exactly
yeah, when
when
to
to.
start turning and when to start braking and how much braking, and
If you just send it around once, it can figure it out.
I don't even think you have to send it around run once. In
Yeah,
theory, if you
probably.
program it correctly, you can tell it exactly when to do everything.
Right.
Um,
And then it can just adapt.
hmm
Crazy. AI is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's whack.
That'll be it for
Oh
this
well.
episode.
Yeah, we were kind of all over the place there a little bit. We gave you some important information. Talked too long about that, but that's okay.
Usually.
And then let us know. Like I said, if you know what you would tell past you to make sure that past you knew that you or future you, what would you tell yourself?
Would you
We're
tell
curious.
them
We want
that
to know
you
in the
pooped
hospital.
yourself at
The
Target?
hospital in the in the comments. Again, obviously, don't tell us super personal
Or
stuff
do?
that no, no, don't. Like, don't be putting your be like, oh yeah, I tell myself my social security number is 0103 or whatever.
Hey, that's your own fault.
And
I need a
yeah,
new
don't.
credit score.
Yeah. But
Don't
yeah,
do
if it's something that's not super personal, if it's something like kind of a quirky thing where like maybe you just carry something around in your pocket or something like that
pooped
that not
yourself.
nobody really knows about, or if you pooped yourself in a Target at age 15, tell your parents or
Yeah.
tell us.
Tell us. Don't tell anybody else.
But
Tell us.
but anyways, thank you for guys for listening and girls. Thank you people, everyone for listening. Um I can't we thank the friends of the why are you looking at me like that?
Guys,
Yeah, I kind of
girls.
fucked up. I kind of
Okay.
fucked up the outro. Start over. Thank you everybody for listening.
Better.
Got it. Nailed it. First try. We want to thank the obviously the friends of the show. Thank you guys for being partners. We enjoy all of the products. Definitely go check out all of them, and we will catch you guys on the next one. And also be on the lookout in the future for that 50th episode. We will be having a giveaway of that nice hat behind Con there on his left. I think it's his left. So be on the lookouts for that. Is that right next to a weed plant?
No, that's a tomato.
Doesn't look like it. Anyways, so Khan's getting
Wait.
arrested next episode.
It's a
Uh,
tomato. Tomato plant, I swear.
anyways, so I will be hosting the next episode by myself while he's getting bail. So
Floppy needs a
see
new
everyone
co-host.
there.
So if you want
Thank you
to,
guys for
send an email.
listening, and we will catch y'all on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.